Simon Cowell's story is often told as a straight climb from obscurity to global fame, but the reality is far more layered, shaped by rejection, reinvention, and an unusual ability to read public taste. Known worldwide as the sharp-tongued judge on television shows like Pop Idol, American Idol, The X Factor, and Got Talent, he became one of the most influential figures in modern entertainment. Yet behind the polished image of the media mogul lies a life marked by instability, early failure, and repeated reinvention. His career did not begin with success but with invisibility, years spent in entry-level roles, financial collapse, and rebuilding from nothing more than instinct and persistence. Over time, he learned not only how the entertainment industry worked, but how audiences behaved, and that understanding became the foundation of his empire. While his public persona was defined by blunt criticism and confidence, his private journey was shaped by doubt, setbacks, and pressure to succeed in an industry that rarely forgives failure. His rise was not sudden, it was constructed slowly through trial, collapse, and recovery. Childhood, distance, and the formation of drive. Simon Cowell was born into a comfortable household in London, but comfort did not translate into emotional warmth. His early life was defined less by hardship in the material sense and more by emotional distance. His mother was socially present but often emotionally reserved, while his father, a music industry executive, prioritized discipline and achievement over affection. Praise was rare, and approval felt conditional rather than freely given. This environment shaped Cowell's early sense of self, leaving him with a persistent feeling of not being fully seen or validated. At school, he struggled with authority and conventional expectations, often clashing with teachers and disengaging from academic structure. Rather than excelling in formal education, he drifted, showing little interest in traditional paths. What emerged instead was a growing resistance to invisibility. He did not respond to neglect by withdrawing, but by developing a determination to be noticed in whatever field he eventually entered. That emotional foundation, built on absence, silence, and unmet expectations, would later influence how he approached both success and criticism in the entertainment world. First steps into music and the EMI mailroom. Cowell's entry into the music industry was not glamorous, but accidental and practical. Through family connections, he secured a position in the mailroom of a major music publishing company. It was a role far removed from the creative or executive positions he would later occupy. His responsibilities were basic, involving sorting mail and performing administrative tasks, while observing the industry from its lowest level. Yet this period became unexpectedly formative. Instead of treating the job as dead-end work, he studied how the industry functioned, how artists were signed, how songs were selected, and how commercial decisions were made. After briefly leaving and struggling to find direction elsewhere, he returned to the same position, realizing that persistence inside the system might be more valuable than trying to escape it prematurely. Over time, he transitioned into junior roles in artist development, gradually learning how business decisions shaped musical success. These years were marked by frustration and anonymity, but they also gave him a foundational education in how entertainment value is created, packaged, and sold to the public. Collapse of early ambition and financial ruin. By his early adulthood, Cowell attempted to step beyond employment and into entrepreneurship, launching his own small music label. The venture initially showed promise, benefiting from the popularity of novelty pop and accessible commercial sounds. Early successes gave him visibility and confidence, and for a short period, he experienced the status he had long been denied. However, the music industry is volatile, and trends shifted quickly. As tastes changed, his label struggled to maintain relevance. Distribution weakened, sales declined, and financial pressure mounted. Within a few years, the business collapsed entirely, leaving him with significant debt and a damaged professional reputation. At just around 30 years old, he found himself forced back into his parents' home, confronting the emotional and practical consequences of failure. The return was not just financial humiliation but psychological strain, reinforcing earlier feelings of inadequacy. This period forced him to reconsider his approach to success. Rather than pursuing critical approval or niche credibility, he began to focus more deliberately on mass appeal and commercial performance, reshaping his philosophy around audience behavior rather than industry opinion. Rebuilding, through industry strategy and pop success. After the collapse of his label, Cowell re-entered the music industry in a more cautious but strategically sharper role. Working as a consultant and talent scout, he began signing acts that did not always align with critical expectations, but performed strongly in sales. This approach marked a shift in his career philosophy. He became increasingly focused on what the public would buy, rather than what critics would praise. Acts associated with mainstream appeal, including pop groups and commercially structured performers, became central to his work. While often dismissed by industry purists, these projects generated significant revenue and established his reputation as someone who understood mass audiences. Groups like Westlife became major commercial successes, demonstrating that carefully packaged pop could dominate charts despite critical skepticism. This period also strengthened Cowell's confidence in his instincts, reinforcing the belief that commercial success and artistic validation did not always align. Although he continued to face criticism from parts of the music industry, his influence steadily grew, and he transitioned from a recovering entrepreneur to a significant decision-maker in shaping popular music trends. Television breakthrough and the rise of a new persona. Cowell's major public transformation began when he moved into television talent competitions. His role as a judge on early talent shows introduced him to a wider audience and established the persona he would become famous for. Unlike traditional judges who offered encouragement regardless of performance, Cowell became known for direct, often harsh evaluations. His blunt style stood out in an entertainment environment that typically favored politeness. This approach attracted both criticism and attention, but more importantly, it increased viewer engagement. Audiences tuned in not only for performances but for his reactions, which became a central feature of the shows. When American Idol launched, his visibility expanded dramatically. The program became a cultural phenomenon, and Cowell's presence helped define its identity. His feedback, often delivered with sharp humor and unfiltered honesty, created a distinctive television dynamic. Over time, he became one of the most recognizable figures in global entertainment, transforming from behind-the-scenes music executive to a central on-screen personality whose opinions could influence public perception of emerging talent. Building a global franchise with The X Factor. After achieving success on talent television, Cowell expanded his influence by creating his own competition format. The X Factor represented a turning point because it gave him full creative control over the structure, branding, and talent selection process. Unlike earlier shows, it allowed for broader participation, including groups, solo artists, and unconventional performers. The format emphasized emotional storytelling alongside performance, making contestants relatable to audiences. This approach proved highly effective, producing internationally successful acts and spawning multiple adaptations worldwide. The show became a launching platform for globally recognized artists and reinforced Cowell's ability to identify and shape commercial talent. It also demonstrated his shift from participant in the industry to architect of entertainment systems. Rather than simply judging talent, he was now designing the mechanisms through which talent became commercially viable. The success of The X Factor expanded his influence far beyond the UK and the United States, turning him into a global entertainment strategist with control over formats replicated across multiple countries. The Got Talent expansion and worldwide cultural reach. Cowell's next major success came with the expansion of the Got Talent franchise. Unlike previous shows focused primarily on singing, this format opened the stage to a wide range of performers, including dancers, comedians, magicians, and unconventional acts. This inclusivity made the show accessible to a broader audience and allowed for unexpected viral moments. One of the most iconic breakthroughs came from Susan Boyle, whose audition became a global sensation and demonstrated the emotional impact of underestimated talent. The Got Talent format quickly expanded across continents, creating localized versions in dozens of countries. This global replication turned the franchise into one of the most widely distributed entertainment formats in television history. Cowell's role evolved from judge to executive creator of scalable entertainment systems. The franchise's success reinforced his belief in universal audience appeal and emotional storytelling. It also cemented his position as a central figure in shaping modern reality television, with influence extending across multiple entertainment markets and cultural contexts. Wealth, fame, and the weight of public identity. As his franchises expanded globally, Cowell's financial success reached extraordinary levels. His production company generated massive revenue, and his personal wealth grew into the hundreds of millions. He became associated with luxury lifestyles, international travel, and high-profile social visibility. However, increased fame also intensified scrutiny. His television persona, defined by blunt criticism, became both his trademark and his burden. While audiences enjoyed his honesty, he also faced criticism for being overly harsh. This dual perception created a complex public identity where admiration and controversy existed simultaneously. Behind the scenes, the demands of managing global television franchises required constant decision-making and long working hours. The scale of operations meant that creative and business pressures were continuous. Despite external success, the emotional cost of maintaining such a visible role in global entertainment added pressure to his personal life. Fame did not simplify his existence. Instead, it multiplied expectations, responsibilities, and public interpretation of his personality. Accidents, physical strain, and shifting priorities. In later years, Cowell experienced significant physical setbacks, including serious injuries from accidents involving electric bicycles. These incidents resulted in spinal injuries that required medical intervention and long recovery periods. The injuries served as a turning point, forcing him to reconsider lifestyle intensity and personal health. At the same time, he became more publicly reflective about his life, his role as a father, and the passage of time. His relationship with his son became a central emotional focus, and he appeared more conscious of balancing work with personal presence. During this period, public attention also linked him to broader conversations about loss within the entertainment industry, including tributes to artists such as Liam Payne, which contributed to reflections on mentorship, responsibility, and the fragility of fame. These experiences collectively softened his public image, shifting him from purely critical television figure to a more complex personality shaped by experience, vulnerability, and physical limitation. Legacy of influence and industry transformation. Cowell's influence on modern entertainment is difficult to separate from the structure of contemporary talent television. He helped redefine how talent is discovered, marketed, and consumed globally. His shows created pathways for artists who might otherwise have remained undiscovered, while also establishing a format where audience participation became central to success. Critics often debate whether his methods prioritize commercialism over artistry, but the impact of his systems on global pop culture is undeniable. He demonstrated that entertainment could be both emotional and commercially scalable, bridging gaps between local talent and international audiences. His legacy is also defined by contradiction: harsh criticism paired with genuine talent discovery, commercial focus paired with global cultural influence. Over time, his image evolved from controversial judge to established industry architect. Regardless of opinion, his role in shaping 21st century entertainment remains one of the most significant in modern media history. Conclusion of a career shaped by reinvention. Simon Cowell's journey reflects a pattern of repeated reinvention, driven by failure, adaptation, and observation of public taste. From an emotionally distant childhood to early industry and visibility, from financial collapse to global entertainment dominance, his life demonstrates how persistence and strategic understanding of audiences can reshape a career. His success was not linear but built through cycles of loss and recovery, each stage contributing to a sharper understanding of how entertainment operates. While his public persona is often defined by bluntness and authority, the underlying story is one of continuous adjustment to rejection and opportunity. Even in later life, physical setbacks and shifting priorities have influenced how he engages with his career and personal relationships. Ultimately, his legacy is not just the shows he created or the artists he discovered, but the transformation of talent television into a global system of entertainment production.